Ladies and gentlemen, I once again have a huge box of goodies because inside here we have the top PC gaming tech available for under $200. And not only do we have things that are going to be fantastic for gaming, but we also have a couple of products that are literally going to make your gaming PC life a whole lot brighter. We're also joined by the lovely editor Carl.
Thank you very much for having me again.
He's here, ladies and gentlemen.
We can't get rid of him.
All that's left to do now, before we actually get started, is to thank Best Buy for sponsoring this video. If you do want to check out pricing on any of the products, check out the Best Buy links that are located down below. Let's get started. The question then that we have is, where shall we begin? And I actually want to start with this because Best Buy were very helpful and they actually gave us a little bit of credit to choose a couple of Razer items. And this is one that has really caught my eye. This is called the Huntsman V2 TKL. And this pretty much hits that sort of sweet spot really for me when it comes to priced performance, because you can currently get this for around about £135 or so here in the UK. And that's still going to give you a fantastic mechanical keyboard. It's in the right sort of size for me. And you've got beautiful RGB lighting and fantastic performance. But yes, here we have our keyboard, and immediately you can tell this is a very robust piece of tech. I've used a lot of keyboards in my time, some of them ridiculously expensive, some of them very cheap, and the first thing really that you're going to notice is the way that it does feel in the hand. And as you'd expect really from something that is quite high-end and is from Razer, definitely no issues there in that regard. The size is also very nice as well. If I grab my personal Logitech G915 for a second here, this is also the 10-keyless version, you can see while the footprint is very much the same, obviously there's a huge difference when it comes to the verticality here, because of course the keys are a lot bigger, and it's going to come down to personal preference really, what sort of keyboard you want. I'm quite liking using this sort of design at the moment, but then I think for gaming I probably prefer a full-size key, so it depends obviously what you do more, gaming, typing, and obviously your personal preferences. But something that I will say that I do prefer on this Logitech is that you do have this bank of media keys here on the top, and then you've got that volume roller, whereas here you'll have to use the function key, which is a little bit annoying. You can get around this by obviously buying the full-size version of this keyboard, but that is the one thing I think I would say I immediately prefer on the Logitech. This also uses the red switches, but you can also get this with, I think it's the purple clicky switch on this size, but if you do step up to the full-size one, then you can buy an analog switch as well, which is pretty cool if you want a little bit more precision movement. But obviously the most important thing with any keyboard is the performance and the way that it feels. And this has a lot of spec, shall we say. It's optical mechanical, and it has a polling rate of 8,000 Hertz. This is a wired keyboard, so we will need to use the USB-C cable that comes in the box. But as for the way that it feels, it's surprisingly quiet actually. I'm used to really loud keyboards. I mean, that is really quite nice. I think a lot of people, especially if you're in a family home, you don't want to have a really annoying noise, clackety clack. Obviously, if you go for the clicky version, then it will be a lot louder. But yeah, I like that that is a little bit less audible, actually. You also get a wrist rest inside the box, though. Perfectly lines up. Doesn't do anything with magnets or anything, but actually, it doesn't move at all when it's on your desk, which is pretty nice. And then of course you get that cable inside the box that I would be amazed if it wasn't USB to USB-C. USB, Razer Green, and USB-C. We'll get gaming on this in just a second, but for now, let's move on to the next product. Carl, what do we got?
Well, last time you really liked the Xbox Elite controller.
Yeah? Oh, that was loud.
So what about that?
SCUF controller. Now, SCUF is something that I haven't really used before, but they started out by modifying other controllers, right? And now they got bought out by Corsair, and they pretty much make high-end controllers from scratch, really. This is the new one. I've certainly heard about this. It is the Envision Pro, but it is PC only, so you can't use this with an Xbox or a PlayStation, but this comes in at what, around about $180 or so? So we do have a couple of Xbox controllers here for comparison. This one was about £50 or so, Xbox One. This is the brand new Elite Series 2. But I mean, $180 is quite a lot of money, right? I mean, what do you think?
I think if you want to spend extra money, you might as well go all the way and maybe get something like this. I think I'd rather buy the top end than the middle.
But we don't know how good it's going to be. I mean, the packaging is phenomenal. This is a really nice unboxing experience, actually. It does feel nice in the hand, I will give you that. And this is completely wireless. You can buy the non-pro version of this. That is a wired controller. We've got a really nice clicky button on the left as well for our D-pad. It does come off like the Xbox controller does. You have a bank of macro keys down here at the bottom. You've got your headphone microphone combo jack beneath it. As I say, quite this like rubbery effect on the underside as well. And then you've got your extra buttons, and all of this comes in the box as standard, and you've got your USB mode and then your wireless mode USB-C for charging, and then obviously your bumper buttons on the top as well. I mean, I don't like that. I know why they flicked it up, so it's easier to hit, but to me, I don't know, I'm not sure how long that's gonna last. You can also adjust them as well, just like you can with the Xbox controllers if you want this to be a lot more snappy. We've got a box that says accessories inside. Here you have some extra analog pieces, but again, they're just so plasticky. Although this is cool though, look. The whole plate comes off, so I'm sure you'll be able to customize this and buy third-party ones and, well, paint it, do whatever you want with it really. And then this is obviously where you get down to business. So again, this is very lightweight and plasticky. Some people will want the lighter weight, others won't. And this is obviously where you can sort of take bits and bobs off and swap them out. So the extra ones that you do get in the box, you can just pop those on like that. And it's great for longevity as well, because clearly this is going to be an easy one to upgrade. That one's a longer stick, okay. And there you have your longer stick Xbox controller. Sorry, not Xbox, PC controller. Force of habit. You would have to be pretty into your controller to specifically go for this when you can buy the Elite controller that almost feels a little bit better, but we'll test it in just a second. Next product, please, Carl. What do we have? We have something that arrived in the post a couple of months ago, actually, from Lian, and I haven't really found the appropriate time to use it until now, because this is a pretty crazy product. You may have heard of this before, and it is an RGB light extension cable. Yes, that's not going to be to everyone's tastes. This is very much an over-the-top product, but actually, because this is a 12-volt high-power connection cable, it's probably on more people's radar because you don't want to use one of those horrible adapters, right? This is the Gen 2 version, and actually is a lot more flexible than the first one was. That was one of the reasons I kind of stopped using it, to be honest, because it just wasn't actually that easy to operate. Whereas this has plenty of flex and bend, and you can buy it in a few different flavors. As I say, this is the 12-volt high power connection that has 3 different 8 pins as well, so this is going to do up to 600 watts of power. Should be pretty easy to install, and in the UK you can find this for around about £50 or so. Installing this should actually be pretty straightforward. Obviously you do need to magic yourself up a gaming PC, and this is quite a good example here because this is swapping out one of the, well, the upgraded cables that you can get. This is a Corsair one that obviously looks a lot more tasteful, shall we say, but especially if you're going for a white rig, I think this is going to match really nicely because you've got these lovely white cables. The only thing that you do need to be aware of though is if you look at the top, obviously you'll see that your pin directions are going to vary depending on the graphics card, and what you might find is that you do have to rotate these cables round to the other way. I mean, we might need to do that right here, right now. That would be a bit annoying, but let's have a look. No, I think we're good. We're good. We just need to plug this in. Oh, I don't think that's going to fit down the bottom though, is it? Is that in? Yes, there we go. Right. Cable is in. While I'm plugging in the 8 pins around the back, do you want to give your thoughts so far, Carl?
I think it looks better than the cable we had before. It obviously looks a lot cleaner.
Okay, that's quite a bold statement. Right, we're in, Carl. We've done it. Whoa, there we go. I mean, white is kind of the right color here because that is a direct replacement. I just wouldn't really say I necessarily love it either. I think that actually probably is more of a product to glow full RGB. Can we change it to RGB? Yes, there you go. That's what it's all about. I mean, that's quite something now, isn't it? Change everything else to spiral rainbow, and yes, there you go. That is your full RGB system in place. I think this was just such a tasteful rig that we had before that it probably didn't need it. But if you do set it all to white, or you do have an RGB system and you want to add some extra flair, especially if you're going to want to swap that cable out anyway, if you like it, go right ahead, fantastic. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Product number 4, please, Carl. I am a checkout person here today. Oh, I almost caught them.
This is the serious bit of the video.
Where realistically, obviously RGB lighting and all of this stuff is great, but the most practical upgrade you can make is to your storage. And not the entry level, but I'd say you can typically get the P3 Plus, which is a Gen 4 drive, around about 5,000 meg on the reads for about like $50 or so for a terabyte. And you can probably get it for a little bit less if it goes on sale. It's insane, and this is going to be one of the easiest and most practical upgrades you can make to your system. It's going to be great for direct storage as well, but the write speeds on this aren't quite as good. So if you step up to something like the Samsung Pro drives, you've got the 980 and the 990 Pro. Both of these do tend to go on sale a lot of the time. The 990 Pro has the fastest speeds, but then the 980 Pro isn't actually that far behind. I think the write speed on this is about 5,000 megabytes a second. Editor Carl nodding his head. And then the read speed about 7,000. So you've not got a dramatic difference between the two here. So I would always advise sort of going for the one that offers the best value. But obviously the price might change at the time of filming. Once again, Best Buy links to this are located down below. Product number 5, please, Carl. I mean, you've been practicing your throwing. What are you, a baseball player?
No.
I probably should say what we're holding. This is from Razer. It is the Basilisk V2 Pro. Massive thank you to Best Buy for actually supplying this one. And yeah, I haven't really used a Razer mouse in quite a while, actually. I think they've come on a long way. I've been a big fan of my G Pros, but now it's time to swap to a Basilisk Pro. As you'd expect with a Razer, really nice unboxing experience. This also has one of those sniper buttons, which I love. And I've always loved it because I think it's a really useful feature, not only in games when you are using a sniper and you need to line up that precision headshot, but then also if you're doing just more practical things like video editing. If you ever need to sort of have a little bit more precision, I find that is really quite useful. You've also got this hyper scroll that we'll test out in a second that allows you to scroll down pages very, very quickly. Could be useful in certain games as well if you want to accept the user license agreement, and it's like, whee! The number one thing that this mouse is going to be good for. Something that does annoy me a little bit is the fact that you don't get the wireless charging stuff as standard. You can actually upgrade to have a wireless charging dock, and then it gives you a little piece here that you swap out, and then the mouse can be wirelessly charged. You do also have Bluetooth as well as 2.4 gig wireless. And of course, as you'd expect from a Razer product, you do have this lovely RGB lighting throughout the mouse as well, that you can customize whether you want it on or off for more battery life in the software. I found the button for the scroll wheel. That's the default. Press this one. Whee! Right, next product then. We have something that is a bit weird because I love these things, but they are definitely quite expensive, especially in the US. But honestly, the difference this can make to your setup is insane. So this is the Philips Hue Gradient Lightstrip, an emphasis on the word gradient because that means you get a nice smooth transition not only between the colors but then also the light that comes out. You can't see the individual LEDs. It's so much better. I've got one of these on my TV and I love it. So when Philips wanted to send one out for a video like this, I thought, yes, let's put one on our monitor. But let's get this under our overhead and actually take a look then, shall we? I will start by saying that you will need a Philips Hue hub to get the best experience with this. It's not actually that much product for your money here. We've got our quite large power brick actually for the lighting to work. We've got our control hub that is sticky and will go on the back of your monitor. And then inside this box, we have all of our connections so that it can actually curve around the back of your display. And this is, I guess, what makes the magic happen. Doesn't look that interesting, but it will in a second. I think we need a monitor for this to work. Oh, and apparently also the PC-centric mouse mat. Top tech under 200. Get yours with the link down below. Installation for this should be pretty straightforward. You just need to grab these and stick them down. Obviously, don't put anything down until you're absolutely sure it's in the right position. I definitely haven't done this twice because I put one of these in the center when there's actually two.
Nope, didn't do that.
Don't show the clip. And then your little lights should go in nice and easily. Start at the top and get this little center line in the middle. Tuck it in. And there you have your light strip installed. You just need to get your little Wi-Fi box plugged in. Drop that down. Stand back into place. You can see it doesn't actually look too bad. I mean, if you're going to see the back of it all the time, then yes, maybe it's not the best. But obviously this is going to be against a wall for most people, and that's when you're going to get the full effect of this lighting and illumination, and it almost turns your whole wall into a light. It's more than the sum of its parts. Oh, blinding, blinding. Here we have power. And you can see already what I mean. I mean, you can still see the RGB zones in the gradient strip itself, but as soon as this then gets diffused on a wall, honestly, you pretty much can't see any at all. It's really quite nice the way it works. You just need to grab the app, search for the light. It's found it, we're good. Start the config, there you go. Gradient Lightstrip 2. And then there, look, you can customize all of your colors to your heart's content, or you can obviously just use it as a bias light while you're trying to play a game. Carl, lights off, please. Right, we're now in the dark. You can't see me, which is probably for the best. But if we turn our light on, I'm now illuminated. You've never seen RGB light in your life before, have you? It's pretty bright actually, and obviously you can customize it however you want. You've got 3 different zones to pick from, but if you want to have it white or group them together, It is very easy to do. I mean, I'll stand here so you can actually see me. I look like a ghost now. There's the blue, there's the pink, yellowy, green. There's actually a lot of light coming off this. If I now turn the rest of them on, I mean, I'll activate our little preset. There we go. We're in our sort of illumination zone, main lights, and then our studio lights. I mean, the problem with this product is it is just so ridiculously expensive. I mean, I will genuinely say that the TV downstairs, I love the Lightstrip so much, I would happily pay the money for that. But yeah, I mean, paying $150, $200 for one behind your monitor, I think that is too steep, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess the main thing to stress is that the brightness of this is so much stronger than all of these monitors that say they come with RGB lighting on the back. Like, there's no context. No context? Well, there is context. There's no contest. This is the real deal. This is a proper bright light that is going to make a big difference. But in terms of value for money, I mean, just you could get some cheaper strips and diffuse them yourself, potentially. You wouldn't have the app control, but I don't know. I think Philips just need to have more competitive price there. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Cashier number 7, please, Carl. Oh, right, that was too hard. That was too hard.
I'm sorry.
That's a warning. We have our ominous grey box. This one has actually just arrived from SteelSeries. This is actually brand new. This is the Alias microphone. This comes in, what was it, about $180 or so, I believe?
#1 gaming headset.
Oh, they've done it again. SteelSeries, bad. Please don't market your products like this. It says in it, #1 premium gaming headset brand. What's that got to do with a microphone though? The last SteelSeries one we had, it said on it, best gaming mouse. But then when you look above it, it says, from the makers of the best gaming mouse. Stop putting these stupid things on. It just, honestly, annoys me. Anyway, pressing swiftly on. The Alias microphone, it comes in 2 different flavors. So this is a USB one, or if you upgrade to the Pro version, don't know why I forgot that word there, then it does come with a little hub, but it does connect over XLR, which a lot of professional people will prefer. It does give you a bit more flexibility. But I think most people, you know, USB is probably the way to go. This is actually a sideways opening box. I'm liking the eco-conscious packaging. And then here we have our microphone. And it is very nice to see that straight out the gate, you do get it on this little suspension arm, because you can spend less money and get something like the Blue Yeti, but as much as I liked that microphone, it was really quite annoying. Every time you tap your desk, you'd get this noise that would sort of come through, and you'd basically have to go out and get a separate suspension arm. Not that they're that expensive, but it's a nice feature to see. It's certainly a very plush looking design, isn't it? It looks quite grown up, but I know it does have some baked in RGB once we get this hooked up. It's a decent size as well, nothing too crazily big or large, but obviously it is all going to be about the sound quality of this. So shall we get testing? Right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're there. We've had some software installation issues with everything all at once. I mean, IQ seems to have died. But anyway, forget about it. We did manage to find a more interesting effect for the Strimer though. I mean, I'll cycle through a few more so you can see them. But the whole idea now is that we've got our full gaming setup with everything ready to go, and we can actually walk you through it and see whether it is any good. The microphone will be a bit of an easy one to test because we can actually swap over to this so you can see whether it's any good. Synchronize it together, and we're now using the microphone, but I'm sure Editor Carl will let you know what mic we're using at which particular point in time. But let's try and open a game, shall we? I think we will put the side panel on though, otherwise our poor microphone might pick up some hot air, and obviously all the turbulence from the fans. Oh look, there's loads of menu options. If only you could quickly get down the bottom. Huh? And yes, we have made it. We are finally gaming on our new setup, and obviously the first thing for you will be the microphone. This is as raw, unedited as you can get. I've installed the software because for some reason it didn't actually work until I did that, but otherwise we have not touched everything. This will be the most natural default. Whatever the software is doing, I haven't changed it. But obviously one of the main features that you get with the SteelSeries mic, besides the actual larger condenser, so it should give you a better quality sound, is the ability to use the AI that's actually baked into the software to reduce the amount of background noise that you are going to get. But obviously that is going to vary depending on, I don't know, whether you've got the microphone close to a PC, whether, I don't know, you've got your sister screaming in the background or your mum telling you that your dinner's ready. Obviously you can adjust a lot of this stuff in software. But let's move across to the peripherals now. Mouse and keyboard, I mean, it's so personal to most people that finding the right one for you is going to be difficult, and it's always worth going to a shop to test them out if you can, because you'll hear different people say different things. But I think my main bit of advice really when it comes to keyboards is to get yourself a 10 keyless one unless you really specifically want or need a larger size keyboard. Because I mean, I'm really boring. I do accounting as well, right? And I have a full size keyboard, and even then I still don't really feel like I need the extra number pad and keys and things. I mean, for gaming, obviously you can customize them into macros and things like that, but I think for most people actually having more room on your desk is going to be more beneficial, and actually having more room to move the mouse around is definitely going to be a big boon, especially to those that have smaller sized desks. But the actual key switches here are really nice, they're very responsive, and while I'm not going to sit here and tell you that having a really high quality top-end keyboard is going to transform you from like a rubbish player to a great one overnight, it definitely is something that can be appreciated, and having a little bit of extra clackiness is something a lot of people like, though you're not really going to find that on here because it's not the loudest keyboard in the world. The mouse, on the other hand, though, absolutely is critical for your gaming performance, and if you gave a pro like a £20–30 mouse, I guarantee it would make such a big difference to the way that they would play. It would be insane, because it's all about the sensitivity and actually being able to conduct the movements that you're going to want to do. And again, everyone's different, right? You are going to find different types of mice for different sorts of players, be that size, weight, amount of buttons, grip type, grip size. But when it comes down to the actual performance, then it is going to be down to the clicks, and probably more importantly, really, the sensor of the mouse itself. I mean, first impressions are really good. I mean, I can definitely see myself using this for a prolonged period of time. I'm going to swap this over and actually use this. So get subscribed if you want to see my sort of long-term review on this. The only complaint I'd say is that the sniper button does feel a little bit flimsy, but then again, that does make it a little bit more accessible because it's sticking out a little bit more rather than a button you have to recess. So yeah, I'd say actually for the money, it's definitely not the cheapest mouse in the world, but it pretty much has all of the features I would be looking for from a gaming mouse. But of course, not everyone wants to play with a keyboard and mouse, which means testing out our Envision Pro controller. And I can tell you immediately that the vibration of this is, well, active, because I've been hit by a car once again. Well, I've managed to find myself a bike so we can actually do a little bit more of a intense workout for this controller. I'm still not convinced. Like, the triggers, they definitely feel different, but I seem to keep catching the edge of it. And I don't think anyone's going to actively not like this. It's just, it's so much money for extra customizability. And if you are the sort of player that wants that, then fantastic. But I just find it a little bit disappointing that it doesn't feel as nice to me as that cheaper Series 2 controller. I mean, when I pressed it there, I'm almost like digging into this like bit of plastic there. I mean, it's got RGB on the underside, which is great. Do you want to have a go, Carl? Tell us what you think.
I think it feels good. It doesn't feel like it's next level. I don't feel like it's worth triple the price of like a standard PlayStation or Xbox controller. I was expecting a lot more. I was expecting to pick it up and feel like,
whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, look, take the, I know you won't be able to actually drive.
It's just that noise just feels a lot more donkey.
It's just more satisfying, isn't it? And it's just more, it just feels more premium. But I don't know, if you're a pro player, maybe it's not about feeling premium, it's about the best performance you can get. It doesn't feel bad, it just doesn't feel like a step up. That's basically what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Feels very snappy, just doesn't feel better. Not to us anyway. Well then everybody, I think with that is our setup complete. Quite a lot of stuff we've covered here today. Some of it has been surprisingly good, some of it has been a bit too expensive. Phillips Hue. But thank you so much for joining us for the ride. If you have enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, get yourself subscribed, and if you do want to check out current pricing on the things that were featured in this video, you can find them with the Best Buy links located down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll catch you in the next one.